Examine a modern microchip, and you are viewing a city of microscopic scale. We pack tens of billions of transistors onto a single component. Intel co-founder Gordon Moore was the first to recognize the trajectory of this extreme miniaturization. This chart shows how the number of components on an integrated circuit doubles roughly every 2 years. We call this exponential curve Moore's law. This early integrated circuit, the Intel 3101, represents a starting point for that evolution. It held only 64 bits of memory. While adding billions of transistors scales processing power, it does not change the foundational logic of how computation is performed. The blueprint for modern computing was codified in 1945, based on John von Neumann's stored program architecture. This architecture requires a physical division between the execution engine performing the calculations and the memory units storing the data. To understand the machine, we have to look past the miniaturized silicon and trace the physical flow of data through the computer's block diagram. Following this data flow provides a mechanical explanation for how a computer system actively routes and processes dynamic information. We start with the input device. This hardware converts physical actions into digital signals. These signals do not travel directly to the processor. Instead, the data routes into primary memory, or RAM, which serves as the temporary staging ground for all active information. Primary memory consists of semiconductor chips mounted directly to the motherboard, minimizing the physical distance data must travel to reach the processor. This memory is volatile. It requires a constant electrical current to hold its data. If power is lost, the contents are wiped. This initial staging is necessary because the processor requires data at speeds input mechanisms cannot reach. The central processing unit acts strictly as an execution engine without permanent storage. Inside, the control unit orchestrates, routing data and interpreting instructions. The arithmetic logic unit executes mathematical equations. Finally, registers act as hyper-fast local memory slots for variables currently being processed. The CPU functions as a composite of these specialized subsystems, routing, calculating, and temporary holding mechanisms, working in mechanical tandem. Bridging memory and the CPU is the system bus. The unidirectional address bus lets the CPU broadcast the required memory location. The unidirectional control bus carries read or write commands. Finally, the bidirectional data bus carries the actual data payload back and forth. A memory controller receives these signals and manages the extraction or insertion of the data payload within the RAM. Without the synchronization of these 3 buses, the CPU would be isolated from its data and unable to function. To trace a cycle, primary memory sends data to the control unit, routing it to the ALU. The processed result returns to the control unit, writing back to primary memory. Finally, data routes to output or duplicates to secondary storage for permanent retention. Secondary storage provides the permanent, non-volatile archiving that we trade away for speed in the primary memory tier. When we group the CU, ALU, and registers onto a single microchip, we call the resulting package a microprocessor. This is the standard for personal computers. We can also group the CPU and the memory blocks into a single perimeter. This integrated layout is a microcontroller. It is used in constraint systems like digital cameras or washing machines, where size and cost are critical. Regardless of the physical packaging, this architecture functions as a logistics network designed to manage latency between fast processors and slower storage. These physical logistics move data pulses through parallel channels at a relentless pace. Computing relies on this continuous loop, fetching from memory, calculating in the ALU, and writing back, all governed by the physical rhythm of the system bus.